It looks like we are now live yet again. Um, all right. Okay. So we are live and we are to be talking to. All right. We're cleaning up the camera here. Okay. So we're live and we're going to be speaking to the White House Office of Public Engagement. And they are here, ready when I am. That was my operations manager cleaning my face. So here we go. And we're going to. Let's see how this technology works.
We are.
Hey!
Hey there. It's so wonderful to see you. Yes. Good. Yes. So good to be with you.
Yes. So good we could make this work.
We made it work. And happy Blind American Equality Day to you and everybody on the line as well. It's so good to be with you. Thank you for taking the time and celebrating alongside us here.
Thank you so much for, taking the time out to give us platform at the White House Office of Engagement, and definitely from the top, from the hill, giving a nod to blindness.
Most certainly. I can just very briefly introduce myself and give a visual description, but then I want to turn it over to you because this is exciting for me more than anything. So my name is Emily Bordy, and I am the White House Liaison to Disabled Americans in the Office of Public Engagement. So White House Office of Public Engagement. So I myself am disabled. I am a white woman with blonde shoulder-length hair. Today I am wearing a kind of a leopard print dress. And I use a manual wheelchair, so you can't see it in the frame here now, but I am myself disabled, and always like to be sure to mention that this work is so personally and professionally important to me as it is to the Biden administration. So and today, like I said, more than ever, we are excited to celebrate the presence and the accomplishments and the work of blind Americans. And like I said, I'm just so grateful to be with you here today.
Well, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for reaching out to our team and saying you want to have me be the blind creator that sort of speaks to you all about disability awareness, about blindness awareness here on White Cane Day. And I'm really excited to have you here on the Lachi show.
I love it. I love it. Lachi, tell me a little bit about you, or tell our viewers here. I have admired you for some time as a fellow disabled American, but tell us about you. Tell me about you.
Yeah, so my name is Lachi. I am a Black woman with cornrows that go down my long down to my side. I'm wearing a black and white, I don't even know if people can see it, but I'm wearing a black and white shirt that has Braille on it that says TWIN in Braille. That's what I need, which is this amazing brand that does sustainable clothes. I am in front of my keyboards here because I am a musician. I am a songwriter, recording artist. I am a disability inclusion advocate. I also do all sorts of other things, like I've hosted a PBS segment highlighting disability, and I'm also co-chair at the Recording Academy for the Grammy Advocacy chapter in New York. And we actually just spoke to Caroline Maloney's office yesterday, trying to tell her to pass some bills. So I am all about really bringing voice to the diverse musician. That's basically me in a nutshell.
That's incredible. And what I've admired about you for so long is just that you wear your disability, you wear your blindness on your sleeve. And I know that that can be exhausting, again, as somebody who identifies as disabled. But why do you think it is so important to self-identify, to speak about your disability, your blindness?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I think that everybody's journey is different, right? When it comes to identity, when it comes to identifying, everyone has their own timeline, and everyone has their own definition of what their identities are. And for me, actually, identifying as disabled, identifying as blind, was not exhausting. In fact, it was exhausting the other way around. So when I didn't identify it was exhausting, I was putting myself and my health at risk. I was tiptoeing around everyone. I couldn't get it right, and no one could get me right because I wasn't identifying correctly, and I knew it. And so I think that it's what's internal to you. If you embrace it and just say, you know what, this is me, it's always so much better. It's like, you know, when you have a secret or you broke something and no one knows who did it, but you know you did it. And it almost just gets to a point where you just feel better just confessing.
Sure.
That's what this is. You're self-confessing. You're saying, you know what? It's not bad. It's me. And so I think that that's why it's really important. And it's, you know, people can follow my journey. I'm very public about it. But as I go from low vision to no vision, I mean, I'm slowly identifying differently each day as my vision gets worse. And, you know, the way I see it is the harder things are, the funner life is. I got my whole YouTube series where I'm just like jumping out of planes and going on like helicopters or whatever, just to show like, hey, you know, my drive is increased the more I identify as disabled.
I think that's so important. And what I really like your kind of caveat or what you started off with is that, you know, everybody's journey is different. It is so personal, and you need to come into that identity on your own timeline. But then when you do get there, right, we, the community, quote unquote, are there to welcome you with open arms. But I know also, right, there, again, I appreciate you saying that, because there is no right or wrong way to be disabled, no right or wrong way to be blind, no right or wrong way to be physically disabled, as I am. So what do you say to either non-disabled folks or sometimes disabled folks in our own community that say you're not disabled enough, or I don't know about you, sometimes I even get you're too disabled, you're wearing that on your sleeve too much, which is,
right.
You know, so what do you say? What do you say to folks that have those criticisms?
You know, there's a lot of grumbling in the disability community that why is it that we can't be a unified voice? Why is it so siloed? Why can't we be like the LGBTQ community who came together and made GLAAD and stuff like that? And I think one of the reasons is because at the end of the day, identifying is a spectrum. You know, you can't tell a male or female, hey, you're too feminine to be a man, or you're too masculine to be a woman, right? It's a spectrum, and you fall somewhere on that spectrum. So people can tell me, hey, you're not blind enough to consider yourself blind. And at the end of the day, I qualify literally as a blind person more so than folks who don't identify as blind. So, you know, it is a spectrum. And once folks really start to see it in that light and recognize, like, hey, it's not about your medical card. It's not about this. It's not about that. It's about how you identify. And that identity is a spectrum because it is particular to you. That I think that'll start changing the narrative. Disability is a culture, not just a diagnosis. And once people start looking at it as, you know, just the way you are in society, I think that'll help. You know, there's a lot of internalized ableism, right? And that's why folks look at it from that spectrum, from that medical model, as opposed to that cultural model, to that social model, to the fact that it's about the different ways people access things, not what it says on your medical card that makes you disabled.
I'm so glad that you just throw the doors open, right, on what disability is, and it to your point, it's more than a diagnosis. I love that, and we know that there are, you know, the CDC estimates that there are 61 million disabled Americans, right, and that's approximately 1 in 5 Americans, and yet so frequently when people think about disability, they think about either us as a monolith or one group of us, right? They think of people who look like me that use wheelchairs, or they think of people I'm glad you bring up the medical model, you know, as frail and unable to participate in society. In reality, right, in the challenge that I face in this role is that disability is, whether you're wearing it on your sleeve or not, it is our brothers and sisters with learning disabilities. It's those kind of newest members of our community we talk about, those navigating the effects of long COVID. It's those with invisible illness and chronic illness and cancer and dementia, and those that have were born with their disability, those that have, you know, aged into their disability. So it's just such a diverse population.
Yeah.
And but coming into that community in a public way, right, requires some level of self-disclosure, and that, you know, as you said, is so personal. What would you say to somebody, let's say someone, a young person watching, that hasn't quite gotten to that point where they are ready to say, yes, I'm disabled, yes, I'm blind, yes, I am part of this community? What would you say to that person that's hesitant to disclose?
Well, you know, I was that person, right? Especially in the music community, I felt, you know, the higher I got up, the less I wanted to disclose, because I didn't want to get in these rooms with these major execs and these, you know, household name producers, and then have them either feel sorry or have them feel weirded out or have them think I'm non-competitive, really. And so I did have to come into it on my own. And honestly, it was when I was more confident in myself in other ways that I realized, like, hey, there's no reason for me to hide this. But people go like, Lachi, oh, your situation is different. You're just this, you know, you're outgoing. And believe me, I was not before. I think it's about a sense of community. You don't have to come out loud and proud to the world as your first step. There are so many communities that are like popping up here and popping up there that really weren't there before, honestly, that you can join and start to find out more about people like you, more about people that you're not alone. There are, I guarantee you, there is 7.7 billion people in the world. There's someone else that can relate to what you're going through. And if you just log on, get online, get on a lot of these Discords, clubhouses, even here on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, you can find other people like you. So for me, I couldn't find other musicians that identified as disabled that were actually professionals. And so I did a big call to action with a good friend of mine, Galen Lee. We made this organization called RAMPed, Recording Artists and Music Professionals with Disabilities. And we said, we wonder if anyone else will identify this way. We put the call out in August. We now have over 200 people on our list, because it turns out if you throw out the net, they will come. So it's all about finding community first, so that you can have people around you that you can feel good about, and then you can open up to. And then the more you feel yourself confident about your disability privately, the more you'll feel about it publicly.
I am so glad that you say, you know, one of the common hesitations for all of us, right, in deciding to self-disclose or be really vocal about our disabilities, is that, as you know, a common trope is the kind of disabled person as a source of inspiration. And we see that, right, even more so on days like today, White Cane Day, Blind American Equality Day. Folks think that celebrating us means kind of putting us on pedestals as sources of inspiration. On today, on White Cane Day and beyond, how do we lift up the voices of our community without falling into this trope? And I know this is the $1 million question, but what can allies do? What can members of our community do to celebrate without again falling into this kind of inspirational narrative?
So the first thing I'm going to say is, and someone said this to me the other day, like, nobody feels bad for Lachi. Like, there's nobody that's like, oh, Lachi, that's so great, because I definitely do not put that out there. And one of the things that I don't, that makes me a little sad, is that we've lost the word inspiration. Like, inspiration is actually a good word. And the thing about it is that people are actually using the wrong word. When they say you inspire me or you're so inspirational, they're actually using the wrong word. What they meant to say was I pity you. That's what they're trying to say. And there needs to be that recognition that are you feeling pity? Because if you were feeling inspired, inspiration is a like physical thing, right? Like spire, right? The breath coming into you, the fire coming into you to pump you up to do something. So you can't say you're inspired if you don't have an action that you take next. And I want to
like that.
My friend Haben Girma. It's like anytime someone says you inspire me, her response is, well, what do I inspire you to do? Because if it's to sit there with your jaw dropped going, oh, then that's not inspiration. That's So people need to recognize that differentiation. Let me calm down. I'm obviously upset. But
no, I'm right there with you, but I love this. It's spot on.
It is. And you know, really at the end of the day, folks with disabilities, allies here, listen to this. Folks with disabilities, every day we wake up, we have to be super creative and hardcore problem solvers to do basic tasks that you do all the time because this world was built and made for you and not built and made for the majority of us. So we have to, getting from our bed to the bathroom is critical thinking skills that we're building. And we're getting to the point where we have superior problem solving skills because we constantly hone that muscle.
Right.
And we're just figure it outers. That's what we're good at. We're good at figuring everything out because the world was a good way. And so I actually celebrate that by having my entire team have disabilities. And I go around like preaching this. So please, please bear with me because I'm going to have to go through the whole spiel. Here we go. My manager is blind. My rep has a non-visible disability. My literary agent is deaf. My accountant / operations manager has neurodiversity. My administrative assistant is blind. My 2 interns, one is blind and one is deaf-blind. And all the interns that come through Lachi Music have disabilities because those are the internship programs I use. And so that's it, that's all. Because I learned, I read somewhere that if you hire folks with disabilities, or at least if you have them in mind for hiring as part of your, talent like strategy, it increases productivity by a ridiculously significant amount, like 72% or something like that. And increases employee retention, workplace positivity, and we're all happy at Lachi Music, or that's what they tell me. And so I'm like, look at the numbers at the end of the day. We're not here to inspire. We're here to do stuff despite the fact that the world wasn't meant for us. And in fact, we don't succeed despite our disability. I believe we succeed because of it.
This is such an incredible segue because so today, as part of White Cane Day, Blind American Equality Day, the President Biden, actually released a proclamation in celebration of the day. And I'm going to read it here so that I don't misspeak. But in the proclamation, he says, quote, "On Blind American Equality Day, we recommit to ensuring the freedom, equality, and opportunity for all blind and visually impaired Americans whose contributions continue to make our nation stronger." And that is so, part of that is integration, equality in the workplace, in communities, in every room that we enter. But what are your initial thoughts on that? Especially as it relates to what you've shared about the strength of your team and their disabled identity.
Okay, so are you going to take this back to Biden? Is that what you're saying?
Sure, great. Here we go. I'm engaging. This is the work we share our platform so we can informs our work. So yes, bring it on.
Okay. Well, what I will say is I'm happy that we are being celebrated. So I don't want to I want to honor that. I don't want to take away from that. But I do know that, it's one day, it's 1 month, and we should be celebrated every day. This is not really a criticism to what you just read, but just to everyone, like, blindness shouldn't just be White Cane Day. It shouldn't just be Blindness Awareness Month. Blind people
Sure.
exist out those months in that day. I love this celebration of blind Americans. I think my only criticism would probably be that more so than equality, equality is very necessary, but I think we need equity. Blindness American Equity Day, because all access is different. We don't need equal access. We need access. We need the ability to have the independence to access what we need, and that's more of an equity issue than an equality issue. But the spirit of the message and the spirit of the day is definitely received, definitely necessary, and I love these steps that are being taken, and I love that you're here celebrating it with blind creators and blind motivators, movers, and shakers.
Yes. Well, good. Like I said, this is so personally and professionally important to me. We are here not just today, but every single day of the week in the administration, in the Office of Public Engagement. This is my sole portfolio. So looking to find ways to connect with my community members, disabled Americans from all walks of life, all diagnoses and cultures from across the country. And again, not just in a performative way, but in a way that informs the work that we do, and allows folks to share their experience with the president and with this administration. So I know that we have been on the phone for a while here. Do you have anything else to share before I let you go? I'm just so grateful for your time, but want to let you leave us with any kind of closing thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say again, gratitude for coming through. Anyone passing by, definitely check out the White House Office of Public Engagement. They don't only deal with disability, they deal with LGBTQ, they deal with all sorts of things, so definitely be engaged there. For anyone coming through to know more about me, I'm Lachi, recording artist, music professional extraordinaire, blind, sexy, trying to make blindness sexy. But definitely check out ramped.org, recording artists and music professionals with disabilities. We are slowly but surely taking over the market and taking over the world. And I think the last thing that I would say to you, Emily, is, you know, I would love to remain engaged with the White House, with this office, and with other offices in the White House. So I'm just gonna like put my foot down, put my little stiletto heel down, and be like, "So you gonna keep my name in your mouth, or?"
You have got our attention most certainly. So and that goes for genuinely everybody on this call. They, in big and small ways, again, this work is informed by the American people, and that is what our office is here to do. So yes, Lachi, you will certainly be hearing from me, and I hope folks on the line as well, you know, hop over to our White House OPE 46 page, you know, shoot us a follow, stay engaged, let us know ways that we can be representing you in your life, your identities, your lived experience in an authentic way. Thank you so much, Lachi, for your time today. Happy, again, White Cane Day, but more importantly, happy, I think, era here of disability. And we're on the precipice of good things under a administration that is here to support us. So thank you so much. Really look forward to staying in touch. Thanks to everybody who joined.
Thank you so much.
We'll catch you soon. Yep.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
for sure. Bye.